he was always in the speed. He used to be real good on bicycles. At his age, he was still riding bicycles backwards. You know, you see a kid with a bike and tell him, Annie, here, let me show you something. And go up the street backwards. With that, he was into souping up cars, and he was a genius of a mechanic. So he had his own shop. He had quite a business going. Daddy was a bootlegger, as many of the veteran drivers were, because they always had a hard time trying to catch Daddy. You know, he was always taking us and different fans that came to town on the back roads of our area to show them, even though the roads have changed a lot now, show the areas where they would go up and down hills and how he could get away from them and where this field was or that field was, you know. And he saw it as a way to try to provide for his family. Daddy was very quiet and unassuming. He wasn't a conflictual person. He had his goal in mind of always being able to return from a race and they couldn't have forgotten the name of Atlanta, Spokane, some of them that's very area. That was about it. And that's the historian, Buzz Kim, my mom and I would talk to death with him every year about it, and well, I'm always something to Buzz. But he says that he hasn't been able to find it. He never said that he had the need for speed, because what he always watched, trying to listen or whatever, and other younger people may be. Incidentally, the driver to drive it slow, obviously got the trophy. Believed in that. His daughter Tina and I were very close. To show off a car was driving slow. That was in a car his way of discouraging people from. I feel that driving reckless, maybe could have gotten some information from her and that other people at risk. I don't know if it was the first or second year. He was a brilliant man, you know. He was a deep thinker that the NASCAR Hall of Fame had their induction.
This will go back before his racing career. Do you know anything about your father's military
at our
career?
dinner table. And fine, but she wasn't even in the picture back in the day then. You know, he was married more than once. The lady that he was married to at the time, because that trophy was given out, Miss Margaret, very sweet lady. I don't want to go into that. And was always very, very kind to us. I'm going to tell you some wrong things. She actually saying what I think instead of what told a reporter that. She knew that, you know, her husband did get the trophy. They ended up divorced, and he was married to somebody else between that wife and this last one. But, you know, she said he did definitely get the trophy, but there's so many years in between that they weren't together. That information, by the way, I don't know in what way you're doing your material as far as your presentation. But most things that you pull on the internet with that information is going to be correct.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. What do you think about the film that's based on him, Grease Lightning?
What do I think about it in what respect?
Yeah. Like accuracy and just how you feel about it.
Okay. Very proud that that the movie was made on Daddy, and he and my mother were very proud of that. As far as accuracy, you know, naturally, they had to do some exaggeration in there to even sell the film. The very first script that was written wasn't acceptable, so the thing went through several hands before Warner Brothers got it. And the profane language always disturbed my mom, but, their point was they had to try to sell it. So things like that, or my mother always had people laughing. She would tell people in a heartbeat, the bathtub scene was not for real. Do y'all remember that scene in the movie?
Yeah, we do.
Yes, they were both very comical. That bathroom scene was not for real. But we were present, during filming, and pretty much the exaggeration of the, the profanity and that type thing.
So I'm going to go back to his racing career here real quick. The NASCAR, who is he? Bill France. What was Wendell's relationship with Bill France? Because I am reading, I'm not totally sure if it's accurate, that one day he was denied money from when all the other white drivers were given money, and then he approached Bill France and he took money out of his pocket right away to give to him. I wonder if you have anything. Yeah?
Yeah, he did that. Bill France and those were caught up in that era themselves, but being in the position they were in, they couldn't be as blatant. The different NASCAR officials who had to approve inspections for the cars, which, you need them to be hard and accurate or whatever for your safety and other people's safety. But they gave Daddy the rough time. One of them, they gave him the roughest time. People couldn't believe that Daddy actually went to that man's funeral, but that's the type of person Daddy was. But Bill France, my memory of him, he was always polite to me. Probably they could have made things easier for Daddy, but they may have been making it harder for themselves in that era. So I try not to second guess too much their actions, because I know that it was a very racial climate and things could become dangerous, and they didn't need riots and different things, as a result of being cooperative with him. I'm forever saying that I'm grateful to them. My mom always said it, for allowing Daddy to do what he enjoyed doing, and having us be able to have experienced the things that we have and still are experiencing as a result of that. The overall relationship with the France family since Big Bill France, has been fine. I mean, I have a very good relationship with them and NASCAR, and I do things with the diversity program. That it's just the players that are involved today. I feel that they get a lot of heat for things like Daddy not getting the trophy, or him not getting more help, or them not using their influence to do this or that, when in truth, those same people not even living today. Mike Helt and Brian France and those, they weren't in those positions in NASCAR at that time. They were still kids themselves. So it's a lot of misplaced accusations, I would say, as far as, who would be held accountable or responsible for what did or did not happen in Daddy's favor back at that time. But yeah, he did. In fact, he told Daddy that that he would be able to race and that he would be treated fairly and that type of thing. Well, there were some things that never did get fair, but he was the head man, but he couldn't be everywhere at all times, and he couldn't put his own livelihood and business and all at risk just because of Daddy. I pride myself in trying to be open-minded like my parents were instead of being influenced by how other people interpreted things.
Could you explain how Wendell dealt with people like knocking him off the track and how he recovered from that and how he dealt with situations like that?
I'm sure that you probably read or heard about the gun thing that this past year or two that people are really dwelling on, and even hear family members tell it a lot, that type of thing, and the negativity part of it I steer from. But yes, that did happen in one instance, but Daddy was very protective of his family and people that were helping him. He had people helping him of other nationalities who were protective of him. I have stood right there and watched a white driver in a fight with somebody for Daddy, that type thing. So, people fail to entertain that part of things. But Daddy, he spoke sternly. He would speak up for himself. Or on the track, he wasn't a pushover on the track. Yeah, people bumped him or did this or that. There's this one driver I'm sure most people know about. They call him Soapy, Neil Castles, who ironically ended up being the person that got the cars together for Warner Brothers for the movie. Now we are in racing clubs together and things like that, and even when all that was going on, when he would be out on the track trying to rough Daddy up, which would make me nervous because I didn't want anything to happen. His daughter, Susan, and I, he had one named Donna too, but she was younger, but his daughter, Susan, and I would be right there, playing in the infield and, getting along. But, her dad would be out there trying to intimidate Daddy. Daddy didn't back down, So, naturally, it happened. Yeah, it happened, but it didn't take a long time for Daddy to earn most drivers' respect, and the drivers will tell you that. You see a man like my dad, and you know his story. If you have any good in you at all, and watch how hard he worked and struggled, like his fan mail, people will say things like they remember being a little boy sitting across the track in the grandstand and ask their dad, why do people be so mean to that man right there? He working right there on his car just as hard as the rest of them trying to get ready for the race, or, that type thing. I remember when Daddy was sick and I would be reading that type stuff to him. It did so much for him to know that people cared and respected him and did recognize that and were actually intelligent enough to document it to him or to call him and say it. And, I'm not talking about a handful of people. I mean, I'm talking about masses of people, So, he was so unique, y'all. He was so unique. This is our rough time of year when we lost Daddy. Lost my sister and our dad right at Christmas. But I don't know. I don't know what racing would be today had it not been for Daddy. Because we can't prove things that haven't happened. But I certainly do believe and give him his props for very obviously being the reason behind the people who are coming along now being able to do what they are, that are minorities. Because Daddy, he kicked that door down. I mean, you know, the man kicked the door down. And it was not easy. It was a struggle. But he was determined, and he didn't waste any time on a pity pot. He strategized some because he had to, as I said, to preserve his equipment and to keep us safe, to fix it so that we could even safely get to some tracks once we entered a city, you know, that type of thing. So today they have the yellow brick road compared to Daddy. You have some people who it's obvious that they still don't know the history, obviously not really interested in it, and are doing well. So he may not get the credit from them, but you have a few who do know the history and appreciate it and give him his props. I'm grateful for that. You have some people who are just selfish. Some people didn't know of him who have come along now, or they may have been into a different type of racing, and they name someone else as their role model or whatever. But I've got news for people from my experience with the industry and the overall picture. Daddy deserves the credit for, irregardless of what type of racing that they're doing, or whatever, if they're a minority. That, and it's a sign of the times today that, you know, things have moved forward in general. I realize that. I'm not ignorant to that. But, I mean, the man, oh my God.
Yes.
He's an awesome man. I'm impartial, but I'm also speaking honestly. He's an awesome man.
Yeah, he sounds like it. I'm going to ask you our last question. I was wondering if your dad, not like breaking into NASCAR, but for the first time that he could race there, I was wondering if the information on him, like, entering without their knowledge and then getting his license approved to race, I wonder if that story was true and if you could expand on it a little bit.
My understanding is that it is true. And it's interesting you would ask that because that's about the third time I've been asked that in the last week. I'm remembering in my mind hearing Daddy tell that. And that's what I try to rely on a lot is it's when I was present and either heard him on the phone or was present standing there when he did certain interviews and a lot of things that he, you know, would just say in general, you know, that you listen to when you're talking to him, period. But that is one of the things. And it's so many different things, y'all, and I've got so much going on. I'm sorry that I can't just to some things say, yeah, and he was in the military and such, and about Patton and World War, whatever, you know, that type of thing. But I don't want to not have certain things in front of me, but I can say yes to what you just asked.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, I think that we have asked all of our questions so far, unless there's anything else that you would like to share with us that you think is important to share about your father.
A couple things. I feel that I didn't expand enough in reference to what you asked about Greek lightning. And for one reason, because of with Richard Pryor having played Daddy, portrayed Daddy, and him having children who were very proud of him. And at this particular time, I think it was last week, that I think he had a birthday as well as his demise date just fell. And I do have a relationship with 3 of his children and his ex-wife. And I know that they're sensitive to things about him. And one of the daughters especially, when we first connected, she was a kid when they were filming it, and she was on location. But right after her dad passed, her thing was, she understood some people were saying her dad didn't do a good job of portraying Daddy. And I hear that so much. But that was Richard Pryor's first major role. And we could see the pros and cons of him being selected for that. But being able to be on location and see the way that he studied and how serious he was about doing the best that he could, and with Warner Brothers hiring Mommy, Daddy for him, Mommy to be right there on location, because they rented out pretty much a whole Holiday Inn in Madison, Georgia for the crew and everybody, that would give Richard and Pam Grier them the opportunity to learn Mommy and Daddy's ways, give him every advantage he could of portraying Daddy well. So the things that I hear people say that I know are inaccurate, that are sensitive to me, I know are sensitive to other people's loved ones. And I know for a fact that Daddy's thing was, he thought Richard did a good job. He was satisfied with it. But there's a lot of stuff in the media about that Richard didn't do a good job or Daddy wasn't satisfied. That's not true. I was present too many times during interviews when Daddy stated that he felt he did a good job and that he was satisfied with it. And it was just a very interesting experience overall. The other thing that, as I said earlier, I don't know how you all are doing your presentation or whatever, but something that I feel is very significant about Daddy is that he is actually in 14 Halls of Fame. And I don't know if you all are aware of that.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. That's really cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. I think that that's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, that is. That's amazing. I think that we are coming down to our last few minutes of recording time. We wanted to thank you so much for agreeing to interview with us and giving us so much great information to use in our project.
Thank you so much. His story is very inspiring.
Thank you all so much, and I'm trying to get these names down because I'm very sentimental. I keep everything in reference to anything that's done about Daddy. I spoke with Amy, Broderick, and I didn't get that first name well at first.
My name's Bente. You spell it Bente.
Okay. And the school that you all attend is what?
Sir Francis Drake High School.
Francis Drake High School.
Yes.
And how are you doing your presentation and when?
We are actually making a documentary project. We were all assigned to choose a subject that we were interested in that's not very, well known to most of the world, and so we chose Wendell Scott because we thought his story was really inspiring and that most people should know about him. And so we're going to make a short documentary film with your interview behind some reenactments and photographs and maybe some short clips of him racing, and a little bit of narration just to tell his story and show what he went through to get where he was, and 14 Halls of Fame.
Okay, so are you saying that you're going to be using my voice?
Yes. Like clippets from the interview just to elaborate on his story in the documentary.
Okay. The other two documentaries on Daddy were two of my projects, and I was hoping that you were meaning that you were going to just pull certain things and not when I'm on and saying other off-the-wall stuff and all. I wouldn't want.
Oh no, don't worry. We're gonna edit out all the and all the. We're just gonna use very short little snippets, and we're gonna make you sound really good. And I'm sure we can send you a link to the video once we're done if you'd like.
Okay, let me ask a little heavier than that. Can you actually send me a copy as well as an unedited copy of this interview?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. What's your projected date on it?
We are going to be presenting them sometime in February. We can get back to you with a real date in a few days. I'm not totally sure right now, but I know it's I think mid-February.
Okay. Because actually, like anything that I do with me dealing with NASCAR and the diversity thing, normally, they set up things for me, but I'm trying to do some things on my own again, but I keep them informed of everything, and my mom and my PR man is actually the person that owns all the diversity teams in NASCAR. He's our PR person and our attorney. He's the CEO for the USA Track and Field thing, too. You all know who I'm talking about? Max Siegel. Have you heard of Max Siegel?
Sadly not.
Yeah, well, you look him up. He actually used to produce for a lot of people like these singers, Jay-Z and other singers. And look up Max Siegel. You'll see what I'm saying. The one reason I want to know for myself, as far as what I'm asking, but also I have to let them know things in depth as far as what I'm doing and stuff. So I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, we appreciate your time. Thank you for everything.
Actually, I'm a very emotional person. I have times when I can be fluent, and I have times when I'm fighting emotions. Like I said, it's been like almost every holiday we've lost somebody close. Actually, we lost a very close cousin yesterday, trying to deal with that. And this is that season for us, with us just losing Mommy and timing of when Daddy passed and all, that I'm surprised I'm even talking about him right now. But I apologize and for the things that I didn't answer for you.
No, don't worry. You don't have anything to apologize for. You have more than we could ask for.
If you need me to provide that information, I will pull it where I make sure that I'm giving you the correct information and stuff.
All right, thank you. We'll message you and let you know if we need anything else. We have to go because...
Okay.
Yeah.
But somebody's in a band because I saw it on Facebook. Is that Broderick?
Oh, yeah. That's
Uh-huh. All right. That's wonderful. Well, I wish you all the best, and I thank you so much. It's an honor that you would do this on Daddy. I'm going to let you go. My cousin sent me a message the other day, and she was like asking me something about Daddy, and she said her teacher can't believe it, and the students can't believe that her last report was on Muhammad Ali, which is their cousin and our cousin, and she said, and now she has to do another one, and she's doing it on Wendell Scott. She said they are not going to believe that he's his cousin too. So it's a small world. It's a small world. I thank you all so much, and all the best to you. Stay safe. Happy holidays.
Thank you. You too. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.